Welcome home, fam. I'm Will Carr Speaks with my co-host XRP Sean. This is
What's
the
up?
Diginacci Sequence, and we're gonna have some fun today.
Let's do it.
Excited to have Phil Spinuzza on the show today. What's up, Phil? How you doing, brother?
Will, Sean, what's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me on today. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for making some time for us, Phil. I know that we got to see you on stage quite a bit, and we were talking a little bit about how I didn't get to meet you. So this is a great time to get familiar with one another. But
Absolutely.
I'll let Will take it over from here.
Yeah, man. Well, really, Phil, I mean, just to get started, kind of tell us who you are, what's your background, what's your daily life look like outside XRP Las Vegas?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. So I've been in this space for about 8 years now, but in reality, my day job, I sell new construction homes for a national builder in the area I'm in. I'm in Ocean City, Maryland, down at the beach. So I help people build their dream home and improve their lives. And that's what my daily day-to-day looks like, really. Outside of that, I've been a diehard crypto enthusiast for a very long time now, introduced to the space by Brad Garlinghouse, and it's just been a thrilling ride ever since.
That's awesome, man. Well, tell us, I mean, speaking of Brad Garlinghouse, let's jump into that. How did you become? Because I mean, when we were out there at XRP Las Vegas, I was front row for some of it, and there you were introducing people, bringing people out on stage, getting the conversation started. What was the journey for you to become the MC for XRP Las Vegas?
Yeah, thank you. A unique journey, really. So it goes back about 8 years. A long time ago, I used to be the director of food and beverage for an oceanfront beach resort in Ocean City, Maryland. And one of the bands we would hire to play 30 plus times a year was the band that Brad Garlinghouse used to drum in. So I met Brad early on. And one of our very first conversations, of course, he starts talking to me about digital assets and XRP. And the first time he explained XRP to me, a light bulb went off in my head. I saw the future. I saw the potential. I went home that day, opened an account on an exchange, and started investing. Ever since then, Brad and I, we would see each other countless times throughout the year. We would always talk about XRP and digital assets, and my love for the space and the potential just grew and grew and grew. But then as Brad's channel grew, he really, didn't have to play in the band. So he spent more time with the channel. And then we got to see less and less of each other. And finally this year, I literally got a call from Brad, and he said, Phil, I figured out how we could spend more time together. I want you to be the MC of XRP Las Vegas this year. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. And that's how it happened.
That's awesome.
That is so cool. I do have a question about Brad, and I know that, he's played a few times. Is he really that good at drumming?
Oh yeah, he's crazy good. He played at the VIP after party. I think everyone's brain exploded when he got on stage.
You missed a good party, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me
Phil
about
and
it.
I were eating chicken wings. You could have been there with us.
Yeah.
I should have. Well, that's awesome. So he gave you a call this year, and it was just, let's do it. You're the MC.
Yeah. At first, I had a little hesitation, honestly. I said, give me a day to think about it. And within 30 minutes, I called him back with the yes. And, the rest is history, I guess.
Well, I mean, do you have experience being an MC or a public speaker, or is he just like, I love you, Phil, you're awesome, you're going to be great at this?
Very, very minimal experience as a public speaker, a little bit more of the latter, I like to think. And Brad just had a lot of trust in me to get up there and get the job done and help make things run. A lot of what I did also was backstage, working with the stage manager, making sure everyone was in the green room on time, ready to go on stage, prepared, all that. It wasn't just rolling out there and announcing names. So he put a lot of faith in me, and that was a little nerve-wracking at first, but once we got into it, it was great.
So you're more of a stage manager as well.
A little bit, yeah. Worked with the state. There was myself and then an actual stage manager. So I worked with the stage manager to make sure everything ran smoothly.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, this was Brad and his wife Danielle's show. I mean, tell us a little bit about backstage. How do the operations of that work for them? What were they doing? What was Brad doing? No one. I think I saw him run through the conference room once. I mean, the guy had to be so busy the whole time.
It was insane. I had no idea how much work they actually put into it. So when XRP Las Vegas ends, the next day they're literally working towards the next XRP Las Vegas. It's 365 days a year for them. It's crazy how much work Brad and Danielle especially, oh my God, unbelievable what she accomplished with this event. It's insane. It was nonstop. I mean, you have countless random things thrown at you. You have to be very fluid, pivot. The night before, we were all actually putting those seat covers on the chairs. That was all of us, like Brad, Danielle, and myself, and the
That's
rest of the
awesome.
team. We're all chipping in, making sure everything's set up on time. It was an experience.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, you're talking about being in the green room, being backstage, stage managing, also being the MC.
Mhm.
I know you obviously had some amazing conversations with the speakers and some of the people that got to go out on stage. Tell us your Brad, before Brad Garlinghouse came on stage. And that was one where I was absolutely front row and center. Got a great selfie with my dad, with Brad Garlinghouse on stage. What were some of the things that you talked with him about? Did you have some interesting conversations with him?
Yes, I was able to spend about 10 minutes with Brad before he went on stage behind the curtains, and it was one-on-one. And Brad is such an awesome guy. He's so genuine. He's so relatable, approachable, which is really cool. And he makes everyone around him feel at ease. So I felt kind of comfortable just sparking up a random conversation. But leading up to the event, for weeks I was thinking about what questions, if I even have the opportunity, could I possibly ask Brad Garlinghouse? So I guess one of the questions I didn't get to talk about on a previous show. So I wanted to know about the Circle acquisition, mentioned all that to him. And at the time, of course, they didn't accept their offers, but I don't think we're out of the woods on that one yet. Even with the IPO, I know their stock is really excelling right now, but I'm still not ruling out an acquisition there, to be honest with you guys.
They did just move over USDC to the ledger. Part of me wants to think that they made an offer for Circle. Was that just to prop up Circle? To make people think like, oh my God, well, they just turned down $6 billion. Like, are we
Yeah.
not out of the woods? Are they going to buy Circle? That's a crazy thought, because now it's got to be worth even more.
It is. However, I wonder what will happen after the lockout period ends with all the angel investors and
A lot of stock come
yeah.
available.
Mm-hmm.
People wanting to take profits.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think it would be tough for them to have a full out acquisition at this point, unless possibly Ripple's already public and they would be able to roll. Because if I'm a shareholder of Circle now on Robinhood, I mean, there are avenues for them to buy all those shares. But at the same time, I think it would almost make more sense if Ripple was already public and they could roll those shares all into Ripple stock. But this is obviously all speculation. We're just speculating on how they possibly could. But yeah, I mean, anything else with
Yeah.
Garlinghouse? Did
So,
he have any funny things
well,
that
I,
you
I've
remember?
I've always been curious as to how attuned he is to X and a lot of the speculations and a lot of the dots that we like to connect on the internet, and if he sees that. So I inquired, Brad, do you see all the wild speculation on X? Do you see all the dots that we try to connect or that we do connect and bring to light? And if so, what do you say about that? And he sees it all basically. And then Brad started laughing about the 589 stuff. He said, I don't know where that came from. That's so crazy. He said, did you know I had 189 followers on my X account? I was like, yeah, I saw that. He's like, yeah, I do that just to troll you guys.
I knew it.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that these guys have a sense of humor.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great. And apparently Hidden Road's address had a 589 in it. And he laughed about that. He thought that was hilarious. He was like, I don't even know what the address is.
Maybe on some higher dimensional level than even Brad realizes, these things are going on. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Because, the coincidences are kind of like, what are the chances of Hidden Road having 589 in their address?
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. He did say that some of the stuff we speculate on is pretty close to the money, and a lot of it's pretty just wild speculation.
Yeah. Well, I imagine the stuff that he thinks we speculate on that's on the money is just kind of like what the future holds as far as
$10,000 XRP plus
Sean.
Moon lock in.
Yeah, I mean that's the fact that he responds to tweets like that from Brad, or he's paying attention for sure.
Yeah.
And he posts that, what was it, the illustration of the monkey? What does it say on that little drawing that even Brad had a
Laugh now, but one day XRP will run the world.
yeah.
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 I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give
He
us
knows.
something.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
tell us. So another big star of the show, obviously, digital asset investor. I think he's right up there with Brad Kimes. Obviously, it's Brad Kimes' show, but I think DAI would probably be, if there's a co-host to the show per se. I think DAI would be that guy. Did you have any fun, interesting conversations with him? Tell me about your interactions with DAI.
Yeah, I feel like I spend more time with DAI outside of Brad Kimes. I spent more time with DAI than anyone else back there. So DAI really is the only other person that promotes that show with Brad Kimes throughout the year.
Right.
So he really kind of is like the co-host, except he doesn't really enjoy being on stage all that much. Yeah, we had some great conversations. Him and his wife, they're amazing people, really awesome. The first morning I had a conversation with DAI. I can't go into any details on it, but before he even finished the conversation, I kid you not, I was in my Uphold account buying as much XRP as I could.
Empty in the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
You don't
something.
need any of this funny money.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Great guy, so down to earth. What you see on the YouTube channel, that's literally him in person. I mean, he's so genuine. It's incredible.
Yeah. No, I had a great conversation with him just because he obviously talks about his sons and playing
Baseball.
sports and stuff, and we got to talk about college sports and just one thing I remember from his listening to one of his shows, him just saying, like, if you want to be good at something, like he was telling his son, who, because I think his oldest is already in college and his younger son was saying, well, I want to play college baseball too. And he was telling his younger son, if you're going to say you want to do that, then that means I'm throwing you 150 pitches a day until you get there. And if you don't want to commit to that, then don't. But if you want to be good at something, it's a daily commitment. And I think that, that shines through his own show. The guy's putting 2-3 videos out a day sometimes. Like,
yeah, it's incredible.
there's not a day that goes by without a new DAI show.
Meanwhile, he's still cutting up pancakes for his son. Come on. Come on. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's really special for him. But yeah, no, that is really cool to hear how he pushes his son like that in a very competitive manner. I'm sure you understand that, Will.
Oh yeah, man. You want to be good at sports, you got to practice. That's why I tell my daughter, you're not going to be you might be 6'3" when you're 16, but you're not going to be a good 3-point shooter if you don't work on your shot now.
Well, do we want to go into Uphold? Because I know you just mentioned it, and I personally love Uphold, and we had a really good conversation with Simon, and he said some things off camera that were fairly encouraging, I'm gonna have to say. But yeah, so how long have you been using Uphold for the whole time, or when did you get turned on to that app?
Yeah. I actually started on Coinbase, and then when the lawsuit hit, obviously was extremely disenfranchised with them delisting. I thought that was atrocious at best. And then Uphold, I feel like, was our knight in shining armor, and they came to our rescue. And I'm mostly on Uphold now. I love the vault. I think that's a great asset for people to utilize. And I think that doesn't get enough credit, to be honest. The vault's truly awesome. And they've got some things in the work for that. They're going to be making some improvements to it, which I was able to talk to the team about, that I thought was pretty cool. But we'll let them announce those changes. But the Uphold guys were incredible. I was having dinner the night of the first night at the same steakhouse they were eating at, and they came up to me about that giveaway they wanted to do, and that was all organic on their part. I think they just thought to do it, and to give away, what was it, 10,000 XRP or $10,000 in XRP. All you had to do is take a picture wearing the hat and tag Uphold and Simon McLaughlin in it. I thought that was incredible. I love what they're doing with direct deposits, how you can get 4% back with XRP or any digital asset for their promotional period. The yield is great. And I think there's some pretty exciting news about Uphold with potential acquisitions. Would love to see Ripple purchase them.
Yeah, right.
Let's go.
That'd be the dream right there.
Yeah, it would be cool. But Nancy Beaton, she's amazing. They're just everyone in the community is so genuine. That was my biggest takeaway from XRP Las Vegas. Is just everyone is so genuine, down to earth. I didn't get the impression that one person ever felt like they were better than anyone else. It didn't matter what you do on a daily basis, what your profession is. I felt like that whole conference was a family reunion from the most important CEOs all the way down to the people helping to run the event. It was really special.
All right. Well, another person that you had mentioned, that you had some good conversation with, and obviously Caleb and Brown, they're doing some really awesome stuff in the space with institutional custody and, helping, especially I think like the older generation that really just doesn't, the people that don't quite understand crypto that really need someone who can almost hold their hand. I mean, and literally with Caleb and Brown having personal brokers, that you can call and talk to someone. You can't get that at Uphold or Coinbase or Kraken or any of the other exchanges. You said you had a good conversation with Jake
Yeah,
Boyle, the CEO of
right.
Caleb and Brown. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so they offer a great service, a unique service. And Jake and I were discussing, we fear that when it comes time to cash out, if you have shallow bags allocated to cash out at whatever price point you're targeting, we were talking about how we think it's going to be pretty hard. I mean, I know for me, it's going to be hard to part ways with some of my XRP, if ever.
Mm.
Ideally, we don't. You can loan it out, but you're going to cash some, let's face it. So we were talking about the emotional attachment that people have now. I mean, shoot, we've been holding for a really long time. There's, like it's going to be tough parting ways with just any one of them. And I personally don't think that anyone should feel that way because profit, whether it's 10x, 100x, 1000x, whatever it may be, that's a huge win. And that's a big pat on the back. And I think taking profit, there's nothing wrong with it. People should be proud to do so. And I don't think people should let an emotional attachment interfere with putting some money in their pocket. So that was a conversation we had. And I thought it was awesome to hear him feel the same way about it. I hope people take profit when the time comes.
That's a very, very tough lesson to learn, and most people have to learn it the hard way. My mom's boss, she worked for an oil and gas company for 20 years, and her boss he couldn't stop trading emotionally. And that's when I learned about trading in my teen years, that's all we ever heard. You go to a conference and they just like, do not be attached to whatever you hold. XRP makes that so tough. It really does, because we see the value in it, we see the utility value, and it really is tough. So hopefully they can pass regulation that really helps us feel comfortable with staking our coins out and lending to the big dogs.
Right.
But yeah, XRP is making it really hard not to hold on to things emotionally. But it's one thing to hold, and I've made it through the waves. I've made it up and down, and I just keep buying. So.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And we've been through so much too with the lawsuit, everything we've been through. It's like, God, it's like it's a part of me now. I feel like it's an appendage in a way. It's crazy.
If you've made it this far, we've got some really, really positive things in the very near future. And I know in our last podcast, we were talking about current events and stuff. And, we're rounding third with this SEC lawsuit. It really seems like both of them just want to just detach from it and move forward. And that's really promising. And it's cool when it ends. That's great. But we still need legislation. So
Yes.
I think we're almost there. I really do.
I think we'll have all the clarity this year when it comes to, regulation of cryptocurrency, stable coins, the way that those are meant to work as the new financial system. I think that all happens this year. I mean, obviously we've had the IMF, the BIS, the World Bank, everyone lay out the switch over to ISO 20022 compliant. And, and it's in 2 weeks, the Federal Reserve switches, before Christmas this year, all world banks have agreed to switch over to the ISO compliant process.
Phil, you got to talk to who were the three guys that were on stage that were basically just legal entities that were talking about the lawsuit? Was that Deaton, and was Meta Lawman there this year? Or was that last
Yeah,
year?
John Deaton, James Murphy. I think Eleanor Terrett was on stage moderating.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, it's nice to get some real insight because we can speculate all we want and be like, "Oh, it's going to be over next week," and we
Yeah.
see it all the time. But it's nice to hear. Well, we're not going to see anything from August till December.
Yeah, so we discussed that a bit. We all are in agreement that, and you can see it, the Genius Act, that's going to materialize very, very soon. I mean, that's progressing through the House and Senate at a very good rate, in my opinion. I think the Clarity Act will be not far behind it. I imagine they'll pass the Clarity Act as fast as they'll pass the Genius Act, which I believe will happen before that November ISO date which is crucially important. After that Clarity Act is passed, I'm going to be eager to see what Trump does with taxes in regards to digital assets. I mean, that's a huge piece to this pie here. If he goes through with eliminating capital gains on US based digital assets, that's remarkable. We're going to see a ton of capital flow into XRP specifically. Of course, a couple others, but definitely XRP, especially XRP is now the only one that's passed court and litigation and actually has real clarity. That's going to be massive. One thing that kind of perturbs me, though, they always like to lump in every conversation about no capital gains on US born digital assets, they always lump Bitcoin into that. And I find that very peculiar because technically we don't know who Satoshi is. We don't know where Bitcoin came from, but yet
Yeah.
it's going to be exempt from US capital gains. I mean, I'm cool with it, fine, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'll say it. It is American because the CIA is who did it.
NSA,
So
NSA.
the NSA,
Yeah,
CIA are three-letter agencies here
yeah,
in the US. Come
yeah.
on.
It is. It.
Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
we were at Vegas last year, and Mel Carmine, he was there, and he kind of bombarded David Schwartz with the questions of, are you Satoshi? He's like, isn't it odd that you work for the NSA for over half a decade, and then as soon as you leave, Bitcoin comes out, and then you
Week
go
later.
join XRP. So it's like, and of course Schwartz is sitting there, you're like, no, 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 no. But of course, what is it gonna say? So there's tons of speculation that he was definitely part of that equation. And then of course, Schwartz has taken out multiple patents, and decades ago in the
In the
80s.
80s.
I mean, nobody even knew what the internet was back then. And here he is taking out patents on blockchain technology. So that's awfully interesting. Very, very interesting.
Well, and I think, if we're going to dive into a little bit of conspiracy here, DAI, he's posted several times the video of them talking about meeting with the four Satoshis.
Mhm.
Like we know that is more than one person.
Yeah, and
And
that's a
so,
logged meeting from Homeland Security to meet with the forced Satoshis.
yeah, that in itself is not conspiracy. I mean, I guess the next parts that we would say might be conspiracy because we're speculating, but to think that someone like David Schwartz is one of those four people, and especially, someone like Arthur Brito, who has been completely silent and hidden from scene, what are the chances that these guys, because I mean, and then there's video of Brad Garlinghouse early on at IMF meetings talking about how it was the early developers, it was the developers of Bitcoin that left to then go and create XRP. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We're left to sit there and go, I'm sorry, go on.
yeah, please speak more, but that's all we get. Those are the breadcrumbs that we get.
Well, Will, you mentioned something. So Arthur Brito, he finally showed his face. Did you guys catch that on X this past week with that emoji? Yeah.
Of course, everybody's talking. What do you think about that, Phil?
I'm not sure. It's tough to speculate on a simple emoji, but it could mean anything, really. It could mean anything. I hope it means we're going to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I it's so entertaining to sit there and scroll through my feed, and it's like all of a sudden one day I was like, oh my god, he came out. What was it 14 years that he didn't do anything? And then I hear Schwartz is saying like, oh, I can confirm it's his actual account. It's like, man, you guys are just sitting there having your morning coffee going, all right, well, I'm gonna post on the what's the
Terrible
channel?
guy.
bearable guy,
Yeah.
because I think Schwartz probably runs that, and it's like, I'm gonna post this. How about you do the face with no mouth over it, and we're just gonna, it's entertainment. I
Yeah.
I think from those guys, but
It
it
is.
really is so much fun to scroll X and see all these people freaking out over it.
And honestly, Sean, that like bearable guy, these emojis from Arthur Brito, that has also made this space so special. All of that cryptic communication, that
Extremely.
wild speculation. I mean,
Yeah.
it's added a layer to this whole journey that you just don't get anywhere else. And I think that's special.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, Bitcoin's got Scottie Pippen.
Haven't.
And I guess amongst all the others, but no, it is a lot of fun to see people try to decipher what this random, really crappy illustration means. And oh my God,
Yeah.
he's holding a flag. And did you see the number on the trees? And it's because I'm not gonna lie, I downloaded those high definition photos and I zoomed in. I
Oh,
changed the
yeah, of
colors up a
course.
little bit just to see what's what. And I can't figure anything out, but somebody
Right.
can. But they're having a
I
whole
I remember being in the group chat with you that night, Sean, and we're like trying to look at those images. We're like, "Oh, what's this series of numbers mean? Is it an address?" We're like trying to find an address on chain.
Yeah. No, it
Years of our life will never get or yeah, hours of our life will never get back, but
Yeah.
it was
Uh,
fun.
it's
right,
so
but
fun.
yeah, there is no other token that holds this kind of fodder and community. So it is, what does Ethereum have? They've got that one guy that looks like he should eat more food. I don't, what's his name? The creator?
They have him in the CCP is what
Yeah, yeah,
Ethereum.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the documentary XRP Unleashed, what was it renamed to?
Rigged from the start.
Rigged from
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah, and shout out to Christopher at Fruition Films because that was an amazing documentary that he put together, and obviously, him and his team are putting together another really amazing documentary right now about the Federal Reserve, and
Mm.
I am pumped to see that documentary.
Well, Phil, what are you most excited about XRP moving forward?
To finally see a cascading chain of events that lead to real world adoption and utility. I mean, utility is the name of the game here, and that's what I've constantly been waiting on since day one. And now I feel like we're closer now than ever before. As I mentioned, Genius Act, Clarity Act, the ISO stuff, and then I'm really curious to see what the DTCC, what blockchain they predominantly use for their execution of business. We've been on the DTCC. So back in the day, Brad Kimes had a Telegram group called the Digital Perspectives Telegram group, and we would speculate on the DTCC back then, and half the group would laugh you out of the room anytime you mentioned DTCC. And now it's a real thing. So I am really excited about that. I mean, 4 quadrillion a year, I believe. That's just such a huge number. You can't even wrap your brain around that. And to imagine that there's a chunk of it that could be on the XRP ledger is just massive beyond belief. Like that, I have chills going down my spine right now.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Mm.
Well, the thing is, when you understand the tech, like all of that, it's not that all of it has to get traded on XRP. I mean,
Right.
why would it not be traded on the best one? That's a different question. But all of it, like, why are they going to trade 10% on chain when it's better? Why are they not just going to move to 100? It's like, we hear these, things like, oh, they'll be $16 trillion tokenized by 2028. It's like, okay, but
Eh,
they have to be conservative. Like, they can't just
yeah,
come out and say
that's digestible.
100% of assets are going to be tokenized. But when you understand the tech, why would they stop at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%? You're going to tokenize everything because it's more efficient.
So, Phil, are you invested in any other tokens?
I am. Yeah. I think diversification is the backbone of a strong investment portfolio. So, yeah, I'll list them. XRP's biggest holding. I've got some exposure to Bitcoin. Zero Ethereum. We'll never touch that stuff. It's again backed by the CCP. I will have nothing to do with Ethereum ever. But I hold XLM. I have XTC, which I'm also excited about.
Yeah.
HBAR. Yeah, I'm excited
Yeah.
about
Those.
HBAR for sure. I have some algo. I have some ADA. Actually, I think I sold all my ADA. uh, what else do I have? Oh, at XRP Las Vegas, someone talked me into buying something called ZBXC. I don't even know it.
Z-Bag.
Now I have,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sean
Yeah.
made a good flip on Z-Bag.
Oh, it did. Yeah. Somebody, I watched Zach Rector talk about it for a week or two, and I was like, all right, well, we'll see. We'll see. And by the time we were in Vegas, I was texting Will and our other buddy. I was like, yeah, I'm up this, I'm up that, I'm up this. And, I decided to pull my initial investment out and just let it ride. And it's really cool that you can pull thousands out and just let something ride. And, now I don't even care what happens because I'm even.
Sure.
But
That's a good feeling.
but I heard a lot of ISO tokens in there, and there's a damn good reason for it. They all have
course.
their uses, and I do like Chainlink, and HBAR is awesome, and I think that a handful of these things are going to be around once legislation comes, but we're going to see 95% of these tokens fall off.
Yeah.
And
95
we-
to 99.
and we joke a lot of time in our group text of how heavily weighted our XRP is in our portfolio, because when I started out, it was very, very diverse, and slowly but surely got into Chainlink, rode that to a 15x, and I could have cashed out, but I just bought more XRP. And
Sean, is your XRP bag more or less than 95% of your portfolio?
oh, it's very, very, very close to 95% plus.
Yeah, Sean really doesn't know. Sean has a little bit just to be in the club with the rest of us that are a little more diversified.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a little bit of everything, but yeah, we're very heavy into this guy right here, and oh, I'm not wearing the shirt. Dang it, I have to get more made. We just believe in it so much, and it was awfully encouraging to go out to Vegas this year and see nearly double the people come out. I'll tell you the most interesting thing that I took away from it. It was talking to our neighbors on the rows that went to Bitcoin Vegas.
Mm.
And they told us, man, there were 30,000 people there, and we didn't strike up a conversation with anybody. It was just that kind of vibe. So
They're too busy watching dancing cows.
yeah. Did you see that, Phil?
I did. That's actually, when I saw that,
Embarrassing.
I
You
was
didn't
like,
swap out your Bitcoin at that time? What the heck?
no, that's what inspired me to truly make it a point to try to be like the most buttoned up, ultra professional I possibly could be, just to be in complete contrast to those guys, in that clown show.
Well, you did look amazing in that suit.
Ah,
Was that an Armani?
yeah, Brooks Brothers. Yeah.
Nice.
No, why would you buy Armani? That'd just take away from your XRP bag.
Yeah, exactly. But Sean, you make a great point, and that's something I want to reiterate to people on stage next year. Is what I truly think made that conference so special is the fact that you could turn to anyone at any point in time and have an incredible conversation. Realize you have so much more in common with a complete stranger than you could possibly imagine, and the friendships that develop from it. It was so fun after the event, walking around the hotel, the casino, bumping into people, having a beer, a cocktail, great conversations. That was so fun. That was the best part about the whole conference, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's no community like the XRP community. It's true. Like everybody was cool. Everybody that I talked to,
all the influencers, Ray Fuentes is a class act. I love that guy. Shout out to Snakey XRP. I don't know if you guys got to hang with Snakey at all. That dude's a legend. The Baron, he's another legend.
Baron, yeah, I didn't get to talk to him, but I've seen him on X and stuff. So,
oh man,
the official cool guy. What?
Yeah,
the official legend. That is literally what. Yeah, DAI called him.
Yeah, they're awesome. Boone's Bergsman, by the way, did you guys catch him? Long hair, wearing the hat. Boone was awesome from Web3 Industries.
Yeah,
Will.
Oh yeah,
Will interviewed him.
Yeah, nice. Great interview with him. Can't wait to post that one.
Yeah, look forward to seeing it. Boone's an awesome man. We had so much fun out there. Really great guy. Can't wait to see him again.
So, Phil, do you think you're going to be doing you're going to be doing it next year as well?
Yes, already locked into MC XRB Las Vegas 2026. Can't wait. Literally counting down the days and seconds. Yeah, honored to go back and do it all over again.
So it will be in Vegas next year. For some reason, I've been seeing some rumble about it not being in Vegas next year.
As far as I know, it's going to be in Vegas next year, but of course that could change, whatever Brad and Danielle decide. I hope it's in Vegas. I think Vegas is the perfect venue for it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it probably tripling up next year because, hopefully next month we're looking at $15 to $30 XRP and it just doesn't stop. I see the expos all the time. We are going to get tired of winning. I feel it. It's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if there's more of a grassroots effort to promote XRP Las Vegas, it can absolutely triple in attendees for sure next year.
Yeah.
I feel like every XRP holder should be at that event. It's just that incredible of a time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to change though. Right now we're looking at, I got my chart pulled up over here. We're just over 220. When XRP is astronomical, anybody will be able to come. It's not, once people made all this money. And so, I mean, speaking of that, Phil, I'd like to hear what price, give me a 12-month and a 20, or give me a 12-month and a 48-month price prediction.
Okay. So July 1st, 2026. Ooh, I like to think we're over $50.
For sure.
Yeah, I do.
You're being
I
conservative.
really wanted to say 3 digits, but I held myself back in all honesty. In 2 years, I'll tell you what, I think before Trump's term is over, I think we're definitely 3 digits and I think there's a chance we could be at 4 digits. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. And that's probably being conservative.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. By the time Trump, because like we talked about earlier, guys, every asset, if we swallow every industry by tokenizing all the bonds, all the real estate, all the stock market, the NASDAQ has already publicly announced that by July of 2026, they will be doing 24/7 trading. That's going to 3.5x the amount of trading hours for the stock market. There's only one way they're going to be able to do that. And that is by tokenizing the entire NASDAQ, the entire stock market on chain. We're looking at tokenizing everything. Distributed ledger technology is going to swallow every industry on the planet. It's going to swallow every asset on the planet. I appreciate, Phil, I know you're more of a moon boy than what you're just saying.
I'm holding back big time.
Not on this show, man. We don't hold back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in this thing for 5 digits without question.
Yeah.
100%. I think XRP will be worth over $10,000 a coin in the very near future. I believe that.
By 2030.
Yeah, for sure.
2026.
Yeah.
One can only hope.
Yeah. And that's where I hope to go back to that small community feel that we have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like Brad needs to charge more for the show or like some way, like if you've been at the show before, you get first dibs at a certain price, but then anybody else that wants to come has to pay more, like something, obviously it's a business for him too. It can't just be what we want for the community, but I want to see that, because we talk about the community. Everyone was so awesome. The people that were there were all genuine. We all have big dreams. We all want to see good things happen in the world. We're all able to see a future that is on the verge of colliding with reality, but it's not quite here yet. And when XRP is 10 grand, it's going to be anybody that it held.
But it's just it's just a party at that point. There's there's no reason to even bring it's just a party. Why would you bring any of the talking heads out except just to have a good time at that point? Because that's what we've all been working towards. That's what the conference is about. Just bring more awareness to this new technology that will reign supreme. It's going to. Now, Will, I know you want to talk about working out at XRP Vegas, which I will not be working out with you guys.
You read my mind.
Go ahead and mention it.
Phil, I know you like to lift weights, man.
Yeah, for sure.
We got to get a group workout going. We need some. We need some
Yes.
exercise happening, dude.
I know you
We
can't
do.
tell, but those are actually 50-pound weights, and Will is 7 foot tall. So,
Oh,
oh,
I don't move my body. We need to get a stretch in. That's my biggest complaint of the whole show was I was sore the whole time because I'm standing, I'm walking around, and it's my fault that I didn't stretch in the hotel room. But come on, we need a guy on the inside like you, Phil, that can talk to Brad and Danielle and make sure that we get a group stretch and a group workout. I'm happy to lead it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll be talking to them about it for sure. And we
All
definitely
right,
need to
cool.
get a workout put together. Absolutely.
Sweet.
awesome. Well, you got anything else, Will? I think it's a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, Phil, thanks so much for coming on the show. I mean, do you have any final thoughts? Anything else you want to mention before we close out?
I just think XRP has the power to change so much in this world. For instance, how we conceptualize market cap in terms of price evaluation. You know, when we sit here and talk about a $10,000 XRP, there's so many people out there that want to bring market cap into the equation. Current conventional wisdom regarding market cap, I think, goes out the window with digital assets. This is a whole new asset class. We're looking at a total paradigm shift, and I think digital assets are going to revolutionize the way we conceptualize market cap in terms of price evaluation. And I can't wait for that day to come.
Same, brother.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Phil, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Again, we're just getting started, but we'd love to have you back on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and really appreciate you taking out some time to be on the show.
Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Will. It's been an honor to be here. Really appreciate it. Sitting down with you guys. Super fun conversation. And I look forward to doing it again very soon.
So much fun, man. This was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Let's have some more fun.